Hey CMG, we're going to be answering some more questions. You ready for that? Are you? Are you really? Honestly? Good. Alright, let's see, where were we? Dale Clark says, since chaos is chaotic, is it better in your opinion to follow a non-linear practice, or is it like most spiritual paths in which it is step-based? Well, chaos is chaotic, for sure, but chaos magic, it doesn't necessarily need to be chaotic. You know, the definition of chaos, there are a few definitions of chaos, and where it applies to chaos magic, it doesn't necessarily mean like chaos as in, you know, random kind of craziness and disruption and stuff like that. It doesn't necessarily mean that. But this is the thing with chaos magic, in that it is very, you know, subjective and very kind of eclectic in the way that the practitioner can put it together, kind of how they like it. It's more of an idea really than a path or a system. Sure, you can find books and you can find step-by-step instructions for it that you can follow, but chaos magic is more of an idea, I suppose. It's more of an approach, in as far as I know, in my opinion, you know, in that belief as a tool, that seems to be the kind of the fundamental cornerstone of chaos magic, really. And if you do go into chaos, the chaos of it, which can also refer to the void, or the kind of unmanifested potential of creation, you know, things before they take on form, before they are made into things, you know. That chaos, void, the word chaos comes from chasm, which comes from void, and if you go into the more kind of mystical side of it, you'll see that this is, it becomes like a very kind of Taoist thing, where the kind of flow of life, or flow of the universe, is what it is, you know, and if you align with that, then that's what you can do. But I mean, chaos magic is eclectic. It's however you want to do it. Just do what works for you. You know, if you need a step-by-step kind of guide or way to do it, then that's cool. You know, if that works for you, go for it. But it doesn't need to be. I mean, there's no value in it aside from it's used to you. You know. I hope that answers your question. All right. What does let's see, Eric Thomas says, why does magic work for some people and not others? Well, Eric, magic works for some people and not others because they're doing it wrong. That's it. Next question. No, I'm kidding. This is an interesting thing, because, you know, this kind of exploring this question is gonna kind of have a look at the whole fundamental nature of magic and what it is and how it works and all that kind of stuff, which is a really big subject. It's a really deep subject, and it's something I'm really interested in, and it's something I've spent a lot of time, you know, thinking about and writing about and working on and stuff like that. I'm actually putting together a video for the blind leading the blind, which is you'll learn more about that later, but it's going to be like a collection of lectures, I suppose, about topics and stuff like that. So yeah, we can learn about that more there, or well, you can learn about my take on it, I suppose, more there. But why does magic work for some people and not others? There's a lot of factors involved in that. It's hard to say, you know. Firstly, it depends how you define magic. You know, there's often a lot of kind of subconscious resistance to stuff. I get this a lot, you know, in my practice as a hypnotherapist. There are people that come and ask me, you know, they want to stop smoking, or they want to lose weight, or they want to exercise more, or whatever, you know. And these are all things that they can do by themselves. You know, people can stop smoking, just don't light another cigarette, or, you know, you can do these things by yourself. But the problem is that they're stuck in their program, they're stuck in their programming, their subconscious kind of a situation in their mind that they've created. or the mind and the subconscious works together to create the situation, and their will is not effective, it's not strong, I guess, enough to change that. But it's the same with all of us. If you fight, if you're fighting against yourself, if you're fighting against your subconscious the whole time, you're gonna have a hard time, and it's not going to work for you. So generally, things that people want or things that people do not have in their lives, they want. So if you're doing magic for money, or if you're doing magic for your revenge or sex or power or whatever it is, you're doing that because you feel like you don't have that in your life at the moment. And there are reasons for that. There are reasons why you don't have that in your life at the moment. And those reasons are normally the way that you approach life, or the beliefs that you have, the understandings that you have, the experiences that you've had, and so on. So to do magic to kind of get to that goal, but you've still got these unconscious blocks, this kind of programming, these beliefs that limit you in that way, is going to be difficult. You're gonna have a hard time. But the path of magic is really powerful in this way, in that it's alchemical to a large extent, in that as you go about trying to get these things that you want, and failing sometimes and succeeding sometimes, inevitably the focus comes to you, and you end up having a look at yourself and why you're not doing this, why you're not succeeding, why do you want this, why don't you allow yourself to have these things, what's the issue here? And in that way, it kind of causes us to have a look at our own stuff and hopefully kind of work through it a bit. That would be my kind of that's my opinion as to why that would happen most of the time. Mind, I think it's mind. I mean, everything's always mind, but magic, if you don't believe in it, if you think you're just messing around, if you don't think it's gonna do anything for you, if you don't kind of invest in it then it's not really gonna work for you. If you have a subconscious belief that that magic works, then it can, despite you not believing it. It's a complicated question that you're asking me, and it comes down to the individual very much. I'd say the best way to do that is to have a look and see why you don't have these things, why you're not getting them, why you don't allow yourself to have these things. But also, like I said, the video on the blind leading the blind that I'll be making about the nature and definition of magic, that's going to be pretty interesting, and that might shed some light on your question that you had there. Man, I could talk about this for a long time because it's such a deep question, such an intricate question, and it's really interesting to me. It's really interesting to me, and Anyway, I'm going to move on now. Although I'd like to spend some more time on that question. All right. Next question: how did CMG become so many things? An order, a culture, a movement, a phenomenon, a thing at all to some folks all of a sudden? I thought it was, I don't know, an FB group. Well, that's because of you guys. That's because of you. You've made it. You made it awesome. You've made it great. Thank you for that. I really enjoy CMG. I enjoy the people that are there and the kind of discussions that are had and the interactions that we have with each other. I think it's really great. I think it's fantastic. I think a lot of people in CMG cannot talk about these things that they talk about on CMG. They can't talk about that with other people in their lives. I know I can't. I mean, a lot of these things, there's even this talk that I'm having with you now, not a lot of people I'd be able to talk like this with them, and they'd understand what I'm saying, or kind of even have the perspective or the kind of framework to kind of process it in the same way that you are, which is interesting. So yeah, I mean, I think we have things in common. We have common interests, and we have a pretty good kind of relationship with each other. We have a good kind of trust. We have a lot of interesting people. We have a lot of really smart people. We have a lot of people that like to challenge each other, and yeah, it's interesting. It's cool. I think there is magic involved. CMG has become an egregore by itself. The group kind of energy, the group dynamic of it is interesting, and it does seem to kind of perpetuate itself, and it has particular directions and flows and stuff like that. But yeah, that's cool. I think that's what it is. I think CMG being a lot more relaxed than some other chaos magic groups around there, allows people to express themselves and to troll and to be a jerk sometimes, and to kind of be more honest, maybe to be more to censor themselves less, to kind of be more spontaneous and to be more honest, to be more genuine. I think it allows them to do that to some extent, although we are limited by the Facebook terms and conditions and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's an interesting question. It's an interesting question, but I blame you totally. I think the members of the group completely make it up. I mean, we've got some fantastic people, some really, really interesting, awesome people in the group, and yeah, it's really cool. There's relationships that have formed over time. CMG has been around for a long time, and I think that kind of forms the meat of the group, which is fantastic. That's pretty cool. All right, so we're on just under 12 minutes now. Maybe I should try answer another question quickly. Oh, this is a tricky question because it's one of these conversations between people on the group over here. Let's see. Okay, so Jason Lee says, "Hey Joshua Hardy, how did you get to be so good at being able to tell what really goes on in people's lives based on the words they type? I mean, how can you gain so much information knowing the difference between lie and truth, reality and fantasy, signal and noise? How can you garner so much when around 85% of information is lost due to lack of body language, inflection of voice, no view of the eyes, no view of facial expression, etc.? Please teach me your masterful technique," which I believe may not be a genuine request. I think it may be a little bit, and here it says, "And now Paul is going to have to answer about him too, like all the questions posted here. I know, double benefit. Well, for me, that would not be taking everything so seriously. Building a rough hide, okay, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, it's learning how not to, okay. Should I let this question stand, Paul? It seems kind of pointless now, up to you." If you're asking me, how did I get so good at being able to tell what really goes on in people's lives based on the words they type? I mean, how can you get so much information knowing the difference between lie and truth, reality? Okay. Well, if you're asking me that, I don't know if I'm particularly good at that. I think I'm average at that. I kind of assume based on context and my experience with the people, what they think and how they. And kind of try and fill in the blanks from that. I generally try and give people the benefit of the doubt, if it seems like they're being a jerk, or if they're being antagonistic, or if they're being whatever. I leave a lot of leeway for kind of lack of communication, because it is difficult to communicate effectively via text on Facebook. So I do give people a lot of leeway, and I try and give space to interpret what they're saying, or to add some context to what they're saying before I kind of settle on an interpretation of or an assumption. And yeah, so I don't know if that answers your question. Very possibly. All right, see you next time.